Well, hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Happy Friday to you. If I look a little stiff, it's because I am. I've spent the last 2.5 days flat on my back. I injured my back, old injury back when I was 20 years old and was raising horses in California. I was hitching up the horse trailer one day and it wasn't lined up quite with the truck, and I decided to, being the tough, strapping young fellow I was, I just yard on the tongue of the trailer and put it onto the ball. Did that and have been paying for it ever since. And sadly, last week, a week ago last Tuesday, I was doing some work and re-injured my back and didn't do too bad for the week. And then this past Tuesday, did some cleaning up in the garage, and that was the final straw and put me flat on my back for a few days. So I'm up and around again now, but having to go gently and try not to bend or twist or turn too much. Anyway, they say a second's folly is a lifetime of pain, right? Anyway, today we have a mail call, and it's from Mark and Brenda Vlogs, or B. Lee's Pets. And they live in Boulder City, Nevada, which is just outside Henderson, which is just outside Las Vegas, if you're not familiar with that. And it is not far from the Hoover Dam, not Herbert Hoover, but Hoover Dam. And what did they send me? Well, let's have a look. Oh, well, there's a lovely book called the Hoover Dam Souvenir Book. And this is a reprint of a book that was originally published in in November of 1933. The first edition of this was put out as a souvenir for not only the workers on the dam, but also tourists that came through the area to see the building of the dam and that. Sorry for the background noise. It's hot here today and the air conditioning is running. And the other thing that was included in there is a reprint of the newspaper of the day. See if I can get that on there where you can read it. So it's a reprint of the Boulder City Journal. There you go. It says, "All Nevada welcomes President Roosevelt at dedication of the dam." And the date on this is September 30th, 1935. I think the dam was totally finalized and fully operational by 1936. I think that's when they first started producing power. But yeah. So, well, Brenda and Mark, thank you so much. Now, for those of you who don't know much about Boulder City, actually the dam, I believe, originally was called the Boulder Dam, because it's in Boulder Canyon. Let's just have a look at Boulder City. It's a very, very unique city in the United States. Boulder City is a town in Clark County, Nevada, with a population of approximately 15,000 people, give or take. Somebody's probably dying every day and somebody's being born, so you never know. The population fluctuates, but around 15,000. So let's have a look at the history. It says, the beginnings of Boulder City were as a federal company town. The land upon which Boulder City was founded was harsh desert environment. Its sole reason for existence was the need to house workers contracted to build the Hoover Dam, or the Colorado River, commonly known as Boulder Dam, from 1933 to 1947, when it was officially renamed Hoover Dam by a joint resolution of Congress. Men hoping to work on the dam project had begun settling along the river in tents as soon as the precise site for the dam had been chosen by the Bureau of Reclamation in 1930. Their ramshackle edifices were collectively known as Ragtown. Boulder City was originally built in 1931 by the Bureau of Reclamation and 6 companies incorporated as housing for workers who were building the Hoover Dam. The sheer scale of the dam and the duration of the project required the Bureau of Reclamation to consider the construction of a semi-permanent town rather than a temporary arrangement. Boulder City was exceptionally rare as an example of a town fully planned under government supervision. This is unlike 19th century privately funded company town examples found in the United Kingdom, such as Port Sunlight, or in the United States, such as Pullman and Chicago. Boulder City was carefully planned through federal supervision as a model community, with Dutch-born urban architect Sacco Renck de Boer contracted to plan it. De Boer had been a planner for Denver, Colorado, and was to design many towns and suburbs around the Rocky Mountain region. Because Hoover Dam project itself represented a focus for optimism for a country suffering from the effects of the Great Depression, the town itself was to be an additional manifestation of this optimism. There was to be an emphasis on a clean living environment for dam workers. The plan submitted by De Boer in 1930 was formal and symmetrical, with a park and the Bureau of Reclamation building at the termination of the two main axes. The plan was deemed too expensive to carry out in its original form and was modified to allow for a more regular block size. Nevertheless, its allowances for public space and copious amounts of landscaping earned it the moniker Nevada's Garden City. The provision of green landscape was another expression of the Bureau of Reclamation's mission to reclaim and green the American West. The town was designed to house approximately 5,000 workers. The status of the workers on the Hoover Dam was reflected in their house sizes and locations. The most important employees had their residence on the top of the hill, near the apex. Managers were housed further down the hill, and dwellings for manual laborers were located furthest from the public buildings and parks. The most radically modified portions of De Boer's plan were in these lower-class residential blocks, where open space and parks were largely eliminated. Commercial development was restricted and severely regulated by Sims Eli, the city manager. There were limits to the number of different types of stores allowed in the city, and all who wished to begin a business were screened for character and financial viability. On the other hand, there was no provision for schools in the bludgeoning city, probably because the Bureau of Reclamation expected that single male workers would populate the town. The town made do with makeshift schoolrooms until the city won the right for state-funded schools to be established on the federal reservation upon which Boulder City was situated. No hospitals were provided in the city either. Injured workers had to travel 33 miles, or 53 kilometers if you prefer that, to Las Vegas Hospital. And when a hospital was established in the city, females were not admitted for a number of years. Like the early model company town, Port Sunlight, the workers of Boulder City were under strict monitoring. Alcohol was prohibited in the town until 1969, and gambling has been prohibited since the city's outset. The city was founded during Prohibition era. Boulder Theater, established in 1931, meant that workers were not obliged to travel to Las Vegas for amusements. Such measures were common for company towns dating back to the 19th century, since sober workers surrounded by their own gardens and provided with appropriate entertainment would be more productive during their working days. In the case of Boulder City, the prohibition of alcohol and gambling was at least partly due to the proximity of Las Vegas, which had a notoriously rowdy vice district. Visitors to Boulder City were admitted by permit, and in 1932 there was a gatehouse through which all visitors had to pass. While the establishment of Boulder City occurred while Las Vegas was modest in size, with approximately 5,000 inhabitants, it was effectively the beginning of the fragmentation of cities in the region of Clark County. This move to disperse to multiple centers predated the decentralization movement of the 1970s. The nearby city of Henderson, founded in 1943 and based around the magnesium industry, was another early example of decentralization before Clark County had a significant population. The region began to decentralize and regroup as a multi-centered area early in its history. The independent governments of Henderson, North Las Vegas, and Boulder City have perpetuated the fragmented nature of the region, giving each city its individual character as well as generally stymieing the outward growth of these cities. The government did not relinquish control of Boulder City until 1959, when the town was incorporated. Boulder City's incorporation ceremony took place on January 4th, 1960. The City Council selected pharmacist Robert N. Broadbent as the town's first mayor. The city charter, approved by the residents, prohibited gambling within the city limits. This provision still exists, making Boulder City one of only 2 locations in Nevada where gambling is illegal. The other town is Panaca. Hoover Dam Lodge Hotel Casino permits gambling and has a Boulder City mailing address, but is located on the parcel of private land within the boundaries of the Lake Mead National Recreation Area, and thus not within city limits. Another casino on the other end of town is Railroad Pass Hotel and Casino, which has a Boulder City telephone prefix, but is within the boundaries of the neighboring city of Henderson. Alcohol sales were first permitted in Boulder City in 1969. On August 9th, 2018, the Boulder City Bypass opened to the public as part of the Interstate 11 project. The bypass is still within Boulder City's city limit, but bypasses the populated area. Initially, businesses and populace were concerned that the bypass would have a negative effect on the local economy, though it seems that the opposite was true for some of the businesses. So there you have it, a little history of Boulder City, Nevada, a town that exists only because they built the Hoover Dam, or Boulder Dam. So if they hadn't built that dam, Boulder City wouldn't exist. And poor Brenda and Mark would be sitting out there with their trailer in the middle of the desert. I doubt it. I think they used to live in Henderson, and then they went on the road for a while, traveling, and then bought a place in Boulder City and settled there. So Boulder City's gain and Henderson's loss, I'd say. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's little history lesson about Boulder City, Nevada. Thank you to Mark and Brenda for sending me this fascinating little booklet and newspaper. I enjoyed reading them, and I hope you'll check Mark and Brenda out. I'll put a link to their channels, Mark and Brenda's, which is B. Lee's Pets. I'll put a link in the description box so you can go to their channel and have a look. Until Tuesday with Tuesdays with a Pilgrim, take care, stay safe, and God bless.